You're back with your girls, Meesa and Meah. From you already know, it's M&M Live Radio. And as you guys know, it's March Motivation here on M&M Live Radio.
Yes.
Where all month long, we're giving you that extra dose of encouragement and motivation that you're going to need. But also, along with that, we're talking to some of the dopest women we know all month long. And we have this week's guest on the airwaves with us right here, right now.
Yes, sir. And Meah, listen to me right now, okay? So we found this young queen on social media, and we instantly, y'all, fell in love with her heart, knowledge, and creativity.
Yes.
Now, you may know her Instagram account at The Black Enneagram, where Enneagram types meet Black culture and inspiration. Now, right here, right now, we want to welcome content creator and Enneagram enthusiast Dayo Ajanaku to the show. Ow! Dayo, how are you today?
Oh my God, that was a lot. Thank you so much.
Listen, no, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us here on M&M Live Radio.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so now let's go ahead and dive right into this. Now, for those that don't know, please explain what an Enneagram is and talk about how you grew to love them and be invested in the subject.
Yeah, so in a very nutshell, very basic way, the Enneagram is a personality typing and it basically goes a step beyond other personality tests in that it tells you why you do what you do and how you can grow from that. So a lot of other tests they just tell you what you do. They tell you your behavior, but I think that Enneagram is so cool that you can really you can intersect it with your spirituality, with your faith, whatever that is, and grow with that knowledge that you have of your type. There are 9 types in total, but even within those 9 types, there's so many different I don't even know what the word is, facets, that can live in each type. So yeah, and I grew to my friend introduced it to me. I kind of fell off after she showed it to me because I was like, oh, we're the Black people. I don't feel seen here. And so, my page is kind of this that's helped me to stay with it and grow and use it as a growth tool. So yeah.
Man, I absolutely love that. I love that. I think we got into Enneagrams. When was that? I guess a while ago. I want to say either you brought it up or our engineer. I think our engineer, Kimo, he's pointing to himself. He's the one who brought up Enneagrams. But I think it's so amazing because it's like something I've never heard of before, but yet it speaks so much to you and it's so insightful on absolutely everything. So what inspired you to start the Instagram account at The Black Enneagram?
Yeah, so I was taking a class called Creativity. I'm a recent graduate. I graduated in 2020, and so my year in 2020, taking a class called Creativity Innovation in Business. So I was a business major, and one of our projects in the class was to find a novel or innovative project that no one else has done before. Obviously, nothing new in the sun, but as new as it can be to you. So for me, this was that project. I kind of left the Enneagram because I was like, where are my people? And so I kind of decided, well, I'm going to be my people. I'm going to try to fill that gap. Because I've just noticed in the Black community, we kind of gravitate towards zodiacs. And I haven't found those zodiacs to be very helpful for me personally.
Right.
So I feel like the Enneagram is way more helpful. And I kind of feel like it helps you come towards wholeness, especially when it's paired with spirituality and it's paired with self-growth and self-improvement. I think that I'm stop there.
No, but it's so dope because the way that you do it,
yes,
it keeps everyone so captivated and so interested. Even the aesthetic of your Instagram.
We love an account with aesthetic.
It's so beautifully done, and we're gonna get deeper into what you can find on the Black Enneagram's Instagram and social media. But listen, y'all, your girls M&M are hanging out with content creator and Enneagram enthusiast Dayo Ajanaku. Now, your account has a great following on Instagram, okay? It's absolutely amazing. I think it's over 31K in counting.
Right.
Okay, so when was the moment that you realized that an increase in followers and that people were really loving your content on and about Enneagrams?
Yeah, so it was in the rise of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Beyonce. That was because people were looking for Easter eggs. Says, I'm rooting for everybody Black. That was the energy of the day of the time. Everyone was looking for if we're looking for Black artists, Black art, everything, just Black. And so I was just in that place to just be that person. And so a lot of white Enneagram Instagrammers wanted to elevate Black voices as well. And so I was one of those Black voices that they wanted to elevate. And so that's what really helped me grow. Was them sharing my content on their feeds, on their stories. That was really a big piece. And also timing. I think that was just timing that helped me to kind of get exposure really quickly. I'm not a fan of like fast processes. Like I like the slow burn. So it was kind of a lot for me at the beginning. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Too much pressure. But I think that, yeah, I've just seen God use it in super, super cool ways. And just honestly maturing me through the page has been really cool.
Yeah, so you're saying around the time last year is when you started to see the growth. So and I think that's so crazy because we all know that 2020 was a year. You know what I'm saying? And it is crazy that even in a time where there was a lot of, racial injustice, and that was a lot really hard on, I know the Black community specifically. And like, it's crazy. I love the fact that you were able to build something that was so empowering and so insightful, and that you really felt and wanted to devote to us as Black people. So I absolutely love that. So, okay. So I have a genuine question for you that I'm really interested on getting your perspective on, because Meesa and I talked about this in our own free time. So, of course, love languages, right? So I remember hearing someone say that, I want to say maybe it was the creator of the love languages, and they were saying how over time it makes sense for you to retake the test because your love languages can change. You know what I'm saying? Like you get in a relationship, you grow as a person, and maybe your desires may change. So Meesa and I were talking, and we're saying how we were curious if the same thing works for Enneagram. So I want to ask you, what do you think? Would you think that the more you evolve as a person when you're in different stages of your life, your Enneagram can change?
Yeah, so I don't think so. I think that, let's say, for example, I'm in an unhealthy space, like I'm just stressed out, I'm sad. I might mistype, like I'm a 1, and so I might mistype at the 4, which is my stress number. So I'll think 4 for months or years, you know what I mean? Because I was stressed. When I become more healthy, then maybe I'll take the test again and be like, oh, I'm actually a 1. It's because of whatever state you're in when you take the test and when you learn about the Enneagram. Kind of in a way, if you're not really super self-aware, it can kind of influence that. I think obviously this is a lot to do, but having someone else kind of coach you through the typing process is more helpful. And also if you're super self-aware, reading through all of them is helpful. But I personally recommend doing it when you're in a more healthy space, because when you do it when you're unhealthy, there's too many things are influencing that your responses when you're taking the test. Honestly, taking the test might not even be helpful for some people, because self-awareness is a big issue. I try to have as much self-awareness as I can, but honestly, we lie to ourselves, we pretend, and we tell ourselves stories about who we are, and that can influence the way that our types show up. So yeah, I hope that answers.
No, it doesn't. But I think that's really insightful, because I remember when we all took the test, our whole family, we did it together. And when we were asking, we set the questions out loud. And as some of us were saying certain questions, we were like, no, that's not you. You're more likely to do that. And and so I think that's great, because I do believe the whole self-awareness tip that you were saying is that, sometimes we aren't aware, and it takes the people around us to be able to tell us, no, you actually are this way, or actually, no, you're actually wrong. You're actually more in a positive state like that. So I'm glad that you're able to answer that question, because I thought that's very insightful for me.
No, so seriously, preparing for this interview, Dayo, I was like, I probably should retake the test. So I decided to retake the test last night, okay? And then I took it, all the questions, all 22 pages of the questions. I answered every last one of them. And when I first took the test, I characterized as a type 6 Enneagram.
Yeah. Say that. I don't know why, but when you a lot of 6s do that. A lot of 6s will take the test over and over and over again. They just want to be sure.
But it's hilarious, because I retook the test and something told me you probably should, and I think you definitely are a type 6 Enneagram. But me, I'm type 6. So what does type 6 do? I'm kind of skeptical. So I took it all over again. And then when I received my results, I was kind of frustrated, because I ended up I guess characterizing myself as a type 9. And it was really weird. And honestly, the fact that you even answered this last question that Meah had asked you is interesting, because I think during the time that I'm in right now, I'm expecting my first kid. I'm in the process of purchasing my first home. There's a lot of firsts that are happening in my life. And, there's some moments in which I could be, deemed as being pretty stressful, high stress environments and whatnot. So that might be the case as to why I did characterize as a type 9. But I was like, I know for a fact I ain't no type 9 Enneagram. So you've definitely answered the question.
You did.
Especially me personally. But now I've seen a lot of Enneagram accounts on Instagram. But what makes yours so special and unique is that yours caters so much to our culture. And by our culture, I mean Black culture, okay? And I'm talking like TV shows, movies, so much more. Like, I mean, even influencers. Now, what inspired you to collab Enneagram types with Black culture?
I mean, I needed it. So I think that frustrated me was like, this is a very petty thing. But like when I saw that there wasn't any typings for A Different World, which is my favorite show of all time.
Yes.
I was like, the insult. Like, this is the best show like ever to exist. Like, why isn't there a typing for this? And so that kind of like, that's what this page started on, was me just typing Black TV. And I think as it grew, it just kind of evolved and changed to be like more broad and be more educational. But yeah, that's why I do it, because that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to see. And so I'm glad people resonate with this so much.
I know, because I think it's so great seeing, like, you know, your favorite, like, you know, not cartoon characters, but like, you know, TV characters and like movie characters, and seeing, like, you know, how they portray themselves in a movie. Like, I saw you did Coming to America too, and I was like, okay, I have to see this one. Am I anybody in this movie? So I think that's so great. Even I love the fact that you even did playlists as well, like, you know, songs that are able to, like, you know, cater to that person. I think you did something recently. I can't remember what exactly it was, but it was like, you know, Enneagram, I don't want to say like promises or something like that, where it was kind of like, you know, to help encourage people. And it's kind of, I know that specifically in the times that we're in now, everybody needs that. And that's why I love your account. I love your account because not only is it entertaining and positive, but it's very insightful. So I wanted you to just, like, you know, talk about, like, you know, I know some people don't do the Enneagram test. Like, I've even had conversations with people who, like, you know, don't believe it, or like they don't like it for whatever reasons they do, and they have their reasons why, which they're entitled to that. But what are some benefits that you personally think that that are beneficial for people knowing their Enneagram?
Girl. Say this, the Enneagram absolutely changed. I think the Enneagram in relationship with everything that happened in 2020 changed my relationship with God. Like, it really helped me to see God differently. Because I always thought, okay, I used to be evangelical, like super like conservative, you know, that whole world. And so I really thought like there's a one size fits all for Christianity. This is what you do in your quiet time. It's like there's a one size fits all. And when I discovered Enneagram, I was like, oh wait, like I can relate to God differently. Like I may not relate to God the way you do, but I mean it's still valid and it's still good, and God still honors it and God still loves it. And I did not know that for like the longest. So I think seeing the way 2020 panned out, and then also seeing the Enneagram like helped me to inform the way that I kind of might relate to God differently than other people, really, really just changed how I look at God, how I look at myself, how I look at other people. Like, it's been honestly still a challenge because it's hard to grow as human beings. Like, it's like you go 3 steps forward and you take like 2 steps back. That's kind of where I am right now. It's like I'm doing all this like emotional, spiritual work, and I'm just like it's just a lot. But I think that it's helped me to kind of have a language to like where I am, who God is. And it's just been super helpful. And I understand the hesitation. I know that the church is very much like, oh no, just the Bible, stick with things that are in the word. And I love that. I think that's great. But I think for me, I've just seen God use the Enneagram in my life and grow me, and there's fruit that's happening from it. So I'm not going to discount that for myself. So yeah.
And I love that you even said that, tied it in with spirituality. Because I mean, a lot of people, I think, find themselves stumbling across identity crisis, not really understanding who they truly are. But the fact that you are able to, you know, use the gift that's on the inside of you to, you know, translate it into Enneagram so that people can understand why they do different things, how they're doing these things, and different things of that nature. But also understanding that this is the way that God created you. I mean, he knitted you in your mom's womb because, you know, you are a 9 or you are a 7, you know, different things like that. But the way that you do it is so relevant to our culture. It's so creative, and I'm so glad that we have Black voices and creators of content like yourself, so that we all can follow and get to know not only different types that, you know, we come across, but also get to know ourselves so much more. But Dayo, thank you so much for just hanging out with us on this week's show. But before you go, give everyone your social media so that they can follow you.
Yeah, so it's the Black Enneagram. Hopefully I spell Enneagram correctly. It's ENEAGRAM, I believe. Right?
I think you're right. You're right.
Black Enneagram, obviously B, you know, I spelled the Black, and then that long word.
Listen, guys, make sure you guys are following Dayo on social media. And also, it's Smarts Motivation here on M&M Live Radio, where we're motivating our listeners all month long. Dayo, do you have any encouraging words to leave our listeners with?
Oh, man. I mean, I would say trust the process. I think trust what God is doing. My life last year, this time was looking terrible. I had applied to, like, I'm going to law school. And so I applied to law schools early 2020 and got rejected from all the schools that I was applied to. Started the Black Enneagram, wrote about the Black Enneagram for my personal statement when I reapplied late 2020 and got into my dream school, Berkeley Law. And so look, like, if God can do that for me, just trust him, trust the process, trust what he's doing. You know, he's aligning your story in a way that's beautiful. It may not be the story you wanted. It was not the story I wanted, but it's a good story because God is writing. And so that's kind of my advice, is just trust the process that you're in. So
I love that. It's a good story because God is writing that. I'm going to tweet that later.
Okay, that's from a type 1 Enneagram. Don't get it twisted now. Now, thank you so much for being on the show. We're in love with everything that you're doing, and your account is just so insightful. We're very glad that we crossed paths, had the opportunity to even have you on the show. And like always, just know that you have our ultimate support at all times. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, to all of our listeners out there, don't go anywhere because we have some more music by some very, very talented woman right here, right now.
That's right. Listen to this one and we'll be right back. You're listening to You Already Know.
It's M&M Live Radio.